Hey guys, this is Isaac from Contender Bicycles, and here with me today is the Orbea Wild. If you have been shopping Orbea e-bikes, as we've had plenty of videos about them in the past, especially the Orbea Rise, you might have gone onto the Orbea website and noticed they have two full suspension e-mountain bikes, the Wild right here and the Orbea Rise. We've gone over the Rise in the past, and now that we have the Wild on hand for the first time since they released the new generation, we're gonna go between the Rise and the Wild and explain what makes the two bikes different and which one might be more suited for your ride style. The Orbea Rise is a great bike by all means, but the Wild here is kind of the Orbea Rise's bigger and more muscular older brother. The Wild has a bigger battery and a bigger motor from the Bosch system as an opposing Shimano EP8 system in the Rise. The Wild is going to be much more centered around being a more through and through e-bike, much less than more than a normal e-bike. It is centered around the Rayon, which is Orbea's acoustic enduro bike. So this bike is being centered around that bike and start with the same similar geometry. It has 170 millimeters of travel on the fork and 160 millimeters of travel in the rear. Tons of travel, lots of tires, and big brakes is the name of the game here on the Wild. If you like crushing lines, railing hard, and finding the biggest, baddest trail you can in your hometown, the Wild might be a bike suited for you. It is definitely centered around that platform. This bike comes in with a 455 millimeter reach in a medium, and then it also has a 64-degree head angle in that medium too. So definitely a super slack head angle on there, meant for crushing those really big rock gardens. Some other just pure aesthetic differences you might see in the differences between the Wild and the Rise is things such as the rear shock. The rear shock on the Wild is mounted vertically, while the Rise uses a horizontally mounted shock slung underneath the top tube. It also has a control module right here on the top tube from the Bosch system that displays battery life and what mode you are in via color, in addition to having a handlebar display. The Rise series from the new ones, they don't have a top tube mount, but they do have a handlebar display that does have what battery mode, what battery level you're at, what mode you're in, and has all the controls for on, off, and for in which to switch between modes. So this has kind of a double display situation going on there. The Rise, on the other hand, has a smaller battery, it's got a smaller motor in it, and it looks more like a normal bike. It doesn't descend quite as capably, and a lot of people might think, well, why would I want to Rise on my e-bike then if I can't descend as well? It doesn't have as much battery life, it doesn't have a bigger motor. Well, that's not the name of the game in the Rise. The reason why the Rise is so great is that it feels like your normal mountain bikes. You can step into it and feel immediately comfortable without needing to get used to the fact that it's an e-bike. The Rise is a much more natural feeling bike. It's really maneuverable with that lighter weight. It looks like a normal bike, so you can go in trail systems you normally would without getting side eyes from people around you on the trail. And the Rise itself is also easier to kind of maneuver around. In picking a line in kind of a rock garden, it's gonna be easier to steer through with that steeper head angle. You can kind of nitpick your way through lines a little bit easier. It can be more fun to jump. You can mess around on it and that way a little bit more. And it's still a super capable bike. It's more of your do-it-all trail bike as opposed to the all kind of enduro bike that the Wild is. The Rise is centered around 140 millimeters of travel in the rear, so it's got 20 millimeters less travel, and it's centered either around 140 or 150 in the front, depending on how you like to set your Rise up, which means it's either got 30 or 20 millimeters less travel on the fork, depending how it's set up. The Rise in a medium has a very similar reach though, with 150 millimeters of reach. It is only 5 millimeters shorter than the Wild is. It does, however, have a much steeper head degree angle. The head tube on the Wild, as I said previously, is 64 degrees. The head tube on the Rise is 65.5, so it's a decent bit steeper. If you were the rider who wants an e-bike to rip to the top of the trail as fast as they can to descend their hardest and most favorite double black in their area, the Wild might be a little bit more suited for you as it's based around an enduro bike. If you like eating rocks for breakfast and descending those hard lines, the Wild is definitely the bike for you. However, if you're somebody who wants a bike that feels more like your normal bike, but you just want a little bit of an extra kick, maybe for less fatigue on your favorite 2-hour loop, or maybe you just want to ride your favorite loop with a little bit faster, let's say the sun's setting after work and you just want to hit that favorite loop before it does, The Rise is gonna feel more like a normal bike and might be more suited to you. So these bikes I think are definitely gonna vary depending rider to rider. And if you're somebody who likes to ride more lighter weight bikes and trail bikes in the beginning already, you might wanna go with the Rise. However, if you are enduro based and you like those big descents, or maybe let's say you already have a lighter weight bike that's not an e-bike and you want to add an e-bike to your quiver, the Wild might be the one for that, because then you can have the more travel without feeling all of that weight with the motor to help you out. If you want to test ride either of these bikes or have any questions, feel free to visit us in store at our Salt Lake City location, or visit us on our website at contenderbicycles.com. We are also available by phone or by chat on that website. Any questions, let us know. Thank you so much.